All right, let's jump right into this fascinating explainer on brain health by shattering a massive misconception right out of the gate. We're looking at the groundbreaking 2024 update from the Lancet Commission on dementia prevention, intervention, and care. And honestly, if you've ever felt like your cognitive future is entirely out of your hands, you are absolutely going to want to pay close attention to the data we're about to unpack.
You know, so many of us have this deep-seated fear that our genetic destiny is just fixed when it comes to cognitive decline. You might look at your family history or maybe just your age and think, well, it's inevitable, there's really nothing I can do. But the latest data tells a wildly different and frankly incredibly hopeful story. It turns out how we live our everyday lives plays a profoundly active role in our brain's future.
So the absolute crucial takeaway here is the number 45. A staggering 45% of dementia cases worldwide could theoretically be prevented or at least delayed simply by addressing modifiable risk factors. I mean, think about that. Nearly half. That is a profound paradigm shift. It means we aren't just passive passengers on the road to aging. We are literally in the driver's seat.
Section 1. The 14 Modifiable Risks. Identifying the Villains. To understand how we can actually prevent nearly half of all these cases, we first need to unmask the specific villains attacking our cognitive health. Back in their 2020 report, the Commission identified 12 heavy hitters, things like hypertension, obesity, smoking, and physical inactivity. It really demonstrates how everything from the air we breathe to the education we receive impacts our brains over a lifetime.
But as we know, science is constantly evolving. And for 2024, the evidence has grown strong enough to definitively link two brand new, compelling risks to an increased risk of dementia: untreated vision loss and high LDL cholesterol. So that brings our total up to 14 specific, actionable targets.
Section 2, Building Your Brain's Armor, the Science of Prevention.
Now, addressing these 14 risks isn't just about general wellness. It's about actively building what scientists call cognitive reserve. Think of it as a literal suit of physical armor for your brain. Modifying behaviors like stopping smoking, managing cholesterol, or continuing to learn new things directly decreases vascular damage and reduces stress and inflammation. You're basically building a neurological savings account that your brain can actively draw on to withstand the pathology that often comes with aging.
Section 3. Midlife, the critical battlefield, ages 18 to 65.
While brain health is absolutely a lifelong journey, the research literally screams that midlife, broadly those years between 18 and 65, is the vital window where we can truly turn the tide against cognitive decline. If we track how these risks cluster across our lifespan, there's this striking convergence of preventable dangers specifically during our middle years. We're talking hearing loss, traumatic brain injury, high LDL, hypertension, and diabetes.
Let's zoom in on a kind of surprising midlife risk: hearing loss. The reality here is stark. Every 10 decibel worsening in your hearing is associated with a 16% increase in your risk of developing dementia. The mechanism here likely involves a mix of reduced cognitive stimulation, social isolation, and just the sheer amount of brain power required to process degraded sounds. But hey, the power of intervention here is incredible. Using hearing aids acts as this profound protective shield. In one major study, providing hearing aids to a high-risk population reduced their 3-year cognitive decline by an astonishing 48%. It's a perfect example of how a simple, accessible intervention can dramatically alter your cognitive trajectory.
Similarly, we see a really powerful dynamic with depression. Untreated midlife depression literally more than doubles your future risk of developing dementia. It is a severe threat, but the data shows that actively treating it, whether through psychotherapy or medication, acts as a massive preventative measure. Getting help for depression physically protects your brain for decades to come.
We also absolutely have to talk about traumatic brain injury, especially in contact sports. Simple rule changes and wearing helmets can physically protect the brain's delicate structure. The data shows that playing professionally for over 15 years or frequently heading a soccer ball significantly increases the risk of neurodegenerative disease. Protecting our heads is just a non-negotiable part of brain health.
Then we have our newest midlife villain, high LDL cholesterol. Astonishingly, eliminating this single, newly added risk factor could alone reduce global dementia cases by 7%. That is an enormous global impact derived simply from managing your cholesterol levels through diet, exercise, or medication, starting right in your middle years.
And for those who smoke, shifting this to a midlife risk factor comes with a major silver lining. Continuing to smoke significantly increases your risk, for sure. However, stopping smoking, particularly before age 65, actually reverses that elevated risk profile. The data shows that the risk for former smokers drops significantly, effectively matching the baseline of people who never smoked. Your brain can heal if you just give it the chance.
Section 4. Living well with dementia. Nuances of treatment and care.
Of course, we have to acknowledge that prevention isn't absolute. But if dementia does occur, the source material for this explainer stresses a truly vital point. The fight is far from over. Providing individualized, multi-component care makes a world of difference. This means prescribing accessible medications, exploring the modest benefits from new amyloid beta-targeting antibodies, and actively treating symptoms like depression and vision loss to fiercely protect the joy and dignity of patients and their families.
Section 5. Never too early or late. Empowering your brain health. As we wrap up this explainer, the single most important takeaway is that your brain is remarkably responsive to the environment you create for it. Whether you're 25, 55, or 85, your daily choices are constantly shaping your cognitive future, regardless of your genetics. This quote perfectly captures the essence of the Lancet Commission's findings. Be ambitious about prevention. Actions to decrease dementia risk should begin early and continue throughout life. Brain health is a lifelong active pursuit, and honestly, it's incredibly forgiving if you just take action.
So, knowing that nearly half of this entire battle is completely within your control, what is the very first step you're going to take right now? What is one single change you'll make